Hi, I'm Gabby from GoNaturalEnglish.com, where you can learn English fluency and confident communication. Let's talk about 6 things that native English speakers never say. This is a guide to help English language learners like you to sound more natural, more native-like. And I chose these 6 things based on real-life conversations and things that non-native English speakers or English learners say to me all the time. So I know that some people might disagree with me on these things that native English speakers never say. So let me just abridge the title just a little bit and say these are 6 things that native English speakers will rarely ever say. And it's just not common or natural. It's not normal to hear native English speakers say this. That said, I am an American English speaker and I teach American English, so these are quite cultural things as well. They're actually grammatically correct, every single one of them. So the problem is not grammar. The problem with these phrases is that they're just not natural, normal, or culturally correct. So let's begin. Number 1, may I practice my English with you? Obviously, if you're a native speaker, you don't need to practice your English because it's a skill that you already have. And most importantly, you realize that English is a tool that you use every day to communicate, not to practice English for English's sake, but to use English in order to communicate, to connect, to convey information, and to make friends. So I highly suggest that instead of asking, can I practice my English with you, that you approach connecting with other English speakers in a more natural, friendly way. Do not view other English speakers as potential practice partners or people that should teach you English. Unless you're actually working with a tutor or a teacher. Other English speakers are not necessarily interested in just practicing to help you improve your English. They are interested, however, in connecting with you if you have a common interest or perhaps a common career or a hobby. So look for those common threads between you and people who happen to speak English, and you'll be able to practice your English in an indirect way when you simply connect with people who are interested in the same things as you. Okay, number 2, I am fine, thank you, and you? I know some people say this in English, but it sounds to me very stilted and unnatural because it's not very common. It's quite rare to hear this. It does get used, but I used to hear this 99% of the time in 99% of the conversations that I had when I was teaching English in Japan. I don't know why. I don't know if there's a certain textbook series that teaches this to everyone in Japan, but everyone, not to pick on my Japanese students, but I spent 3 years teaching in Japan, so I have a lot of experience there. And people would always, Japanese English learners would always use this, I am fine, thank you, and you, and it's just not used as much in the United States. In fact, it almost sounds too formal to me because with my colleagues and friends, we use a variety of greetings like, how are you? How are you doing? How are you today? How's it going? But I don't remember the last time that I've said I am fine, thank you, and you to respond. You know, normal responses would be, I'm great, how are you? Or fine, what's going on? Or I'm good, what's going on with you? Or awesome, how about you? So even how about you or how about you is a little bit more common than and you. So what do you think? Tell me in the comments if you hear native English speakers saying these phrases. Number 3, how do you do? How do you do? This is definitely not American English. I don't think I've ever heard an American English speaker use this unless they were imitating a British English speaker or trying to be funny. It's just not common. I don't know, is this more common in England or in other countries? I can tell you for sure, American English speakers do not ask, how do you do? The only time that you'll hear an American English speaker asking, how do you do, is if there's more words in the sentence, like, how do you do that? Or, how do you do your hair? It looks great. Or, how do you do your homework? We never ask simply, how do you do, to ask someone, how are you? Okay, number 4. In general, negative observations are just not really socially savvy. So many times I've had students and even international friends just directly tell me negative observations about my appearance, and it's not normal for me, so it was really shocking. They would just say, wow, you look really tired, or you look hungover, or you're looking a little fat. And for me as an American, this is so shocking because people don't normally comment on your appearance unless they're your friend. So I'm talking about acquaintances or people you just met or people that you don't know very well. So family members, close friends, we might say like, gosh, you look a little tired, are you okay? But I don't think I would even tell my best friend if she looked fat, to be honest, because it's like a big insult. It was really shocking for me when I lived in other countries and people would just tell me straight up, directly, wow, you're looking a little fat. Or like in Spanish, there's this word gordita, like, wow, tú estás gordita, wow, great, good for you, está bonita, está gordita. I would be like, excuse me? I'm a little fat? But apparently in Spanish and in other cultures, this could be a good thing. In American culture, unless you want to offend someone, I would not advise you to tell them they're looking a little fat. Number 5, are you married? I get asked this question a lot, and if you've just met someone, it's really direct. So any kind of personal question, are you married? Are you single? Are you rich? I don't know, like what street do you live on? It's a little too personal if you don't know the person, like if you haven't met with them several times. I guess it's more common in other cultures to ask directly straight away if someone is married. Maybe it's like getting it out of the way to know how to interact with each other. I've had so many Uber drivers ask me if I'm married, and it makes me really uncomfortable because I'm like, I'm just here for a ride to the airport, didn't want to date you, so why are you asking if I'm married? So for me, it's really strange. And in American culture in general, if I could be a representative of American culture here, since I am American, it's just not normal to ask someone if they're married if you don't know them already. So like if you just met someone, like if they're your Uber passenger or your Uber driver, did I just say passenger? If they're your Uber passenger or your driver, or maybe someone that you just met at a cafe or something, don't ask if they're married. There's some indirect ways that you could kind of figure out if they're married. You could maybe ask like, oh, are you here with your husband or boyfriend? I mean, even that sounds pretty direct. So in American culture, we don't really ask if someone's married or single until we know them a little bit. So that might feel strange to you, but that's just how it is. Also, in this category of personal questions would be age. It's totally not normal to ask someone how old they are unless you're filling out some special paperwork like for your doctor and they need to know your age, we don't ask people how old they are if we just met them. Similarly, we don't tell people how old we are if we just met them. I remember I had an English class, I was teaching an English class where there were people from all over the world, and we had to introduce ourselves. And all the students, they were adult students, they all started saying their ages. And it just felt so weird to me because in the United States, American students would not share their age in a self-introduction. In fact, in job interviews, it's illegal to ask someone how old they are or if they're married or personal details like that because it's discrimination. And finally, number 6, how much rent do you pay? So this could be lumped in with the personal questions that I just talked about, but this is more of a money question. So any question that's directly related to money, like how much do you make, or how much rent do you pay, or how much did you pay for your car? Questions like this are not appropriate culturally in the US, so native speakers don't ask them unless you already know the person. So the key here is how close are you to the person? Are they really your friend? Have you had several conversations with them? Have they asked you some personal details? You could ask, is it okay if I ask you something personal before you ask a money question or a personal question? If you really, really want to know. Otherwise, I would just advise to wait because it just feels like an invasion of privacy to an American if you ask how much they paid for something. Yes, there's exceptions. If you're in a situation when people are openly talking about money, like if you're at a business conference or something, I don't know, yeah, there's exceptions. But in general, when you just meet someone for the first time, stay away from questions about money, personal information, like are you married, and appearance, or especially negative points about their appearance. Don't say, how do you do? Don't say, I am fine, thank you, and you. And if you want to practice your English, don't ask to practice your English. Just talk to people. And preferably not with any of these questions that I just shared with you, because these are things that native English speakers just don't generally say. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, if you were entertained at all, then click down there to subscribe to Go Natural English. If you'd like to watch another video where you can learn more English and what to say in conversations, you can click right over there. And if you're an English learner and you'd like to get all the best Go Natural English tips in our easy to download Go Natural English Fluency Formula, you can click right down there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.